you're listening to a Band of Gamers podcast. This is episode 202. We're a gaming and music discovery show. Our two favorite hobbies, Side A video games and Side B music, although this episode is all Side A video games. We've got a good one for you. It's our 8th annual Footies.
Yay!
I waited for the applause, and it took a little bit.
Hold on. There you go.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Golf claps.
8th annual Footies.
Polite claps.
It's our favorites of the year. This episode, we've got video games. Before that, we're going to talk about that new Xbox name and design that was revealed during the Game Awards. We got a follow-up conversation to the last episode, a commitment to our backlog where we finalized some goals and some games for 2020. Then we've got our Footies. In between the commitment to our backlog and the Footies is where we got our beers. Is that right, Shane?
Yeah, man. We're going to have a little Christmas cheer here soon.
All right. Well, I'm Joel, your MC, one of your 3 co-hosts from Vancouver, Canada, complete with Christmas cheer. It's Shane. Hey, Shane.
Yeah. Hello. I always say it's been too long, so I'm not going to say it. It hasn't been too long. It's been just right. It's the favorites of the year. We're talking video games today, man. This is going to be, we got a little Xbox going down, man. This is going to be awesome, man. Glad to be recording again.
Can we say it's been a week too long?
I would agree with that, yes.
All right.
Very accurate.
It's a fair compromise. In Birmingham, England, with less games on his Christmas list, it's Carl.
It is indeed. I'm looking forward to the challenge that we've set ourselves next year with this backlog. It's resulted in me asking Santa for a few less games. Thinking, I need to take this seriously. So I guess I'm going to get more socks and stuff this year. I don't know.
There you go.
Well, maybe you'll finally get that bread maker you've been asking for.
Oh, dude. I've got fingers crossed if only.
Here's what's right. The brown bread is you want the right bread.
I love it. Well, the Xbox has got a name. And it's got a design. We saw that at the Game Awards. There's a little bit of a trailer, 2-3 minutes, I think. Doesn't show a whole lot, doesn't say a whole lot, but it does say the name. We got Xbox Series X. Is that proper confusing for you guys, or what do you think of that name?
It's a little on the strange side, I think. It's not exactly snappy, but it's in keeping with what they're doing. I just think it could be a little bit confusing for those parents and grandparents who go out and buy the console for little Timmy next Christmas. It doesn't exactly excite. I don't think.
Shane,
it's that fine line between clever and stupid.
Yeah,
and it's either really clever or maybe just a little bit lazy. But when I first saw it, I was like, really? Like, come on, guys. Like, I mean, you got so much good going for you right now. They've built up a decent amount of momentum going forward. And then the Series X. And it was just kind of like, the shoulders come down a little bit. Like, you get a little bit of that sigh. It was kind of first like, really? What's going on with this? But I'm sure we'll get into a little bit more of that.
Yeah, when I first heard it, I thought the name was stupid. I'm like, here, it's going to be, I mean, you had to put the X in there too. I mean, so we've got the Xbox One X in the stores, and now we've got the Xbox Series X. It's only one word difference. It's like they dropped the one and added series. It's way confusing, I think, to non-hardcore gamers going out to the store, parents trying to buy it for their kids or whatever. It's really weird. But then there's that rumor going around that they're going to release a couple SKUs this next generation. The Series X, I think, being the heavy duty, the pro equivalent, the 1X of the next generation, if you will, and then releasing presumably something a little bit less, a little cheaper, and that might be Series S or Series something else. And then in that context, it's not that bad. I like that they're going back to just Xbox, because they do have that backwards compatibility, a lot, or mostly, with all the way back to the original, with the 360. They're going to have it with the One. So now you just buy an Xbox and it plays everything. And it's got the design. It's got the green light at the top, which is harkens all the way back to that original Xbox as far as color. Black and the little bit of an emanating green coming off of it, which goes back to the original Xbox. So besides the confusion for parents trying to buy it for their kids who aren't in the know, I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
Yeah, the more I thought about it over, the past few nights and whatnot, and then it does seem like they can go and take a page out of Apple with having, multiple to the point of almost maybe too many SKUs at some point. I mean, who knows? We'll see what happens, but I could definitely see them doing and having, 2 or 3, maybe even 4 different tiers with, like an all digital in there, and then opens up the door for, the Series X and whatnot going down the line of how they want to name it different, whether it be Series, F, J, or whatever, or, Pro X, or however they want to do it. But that does seem, with some more thought into it, a lot more likely than just a bad name. It seems like that's probably what they'll do. At least I believe that.
I really like the way that they've gone about the design this time around. I think having something that is kind of vertical, like a little bit of a tower, I think that's pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I've got my Pro kind of standing up on that stand, that little Spider-Man one, and I quite like it being vertical. I guess a lot of people have got that thing under the TV where you've got that specific lying down flat area. But I like the tower. I like it. I think if you've got a PC, you could pop that right next to it. It'll look pretty cool, and kind of unoffensive, and it's not very intrusive or anything like that. So just stack it up there, next to your Sonos speaker or whatever. It kind of blends in with stuff. I quite like that.
Bit more erect, some might say.
Mm.
It does have that Sonos look to it, like you just mentioned, Carl. It does have that kind of look to it. I haven't thought about it that way. I'm not sure about the design. I like that you can also lay it horizontal, apparently. So you have your choice between vertical and horizontal. You don't need a stand. It's pretty, I guess, rectangular. So either way you lay it, it should look decent. Hopefully it won't cause any issues if you lay it down horizontally. Again, they're going all the way back here. It's an Xbox. It's now literally a box, a rectangular box. So it's tossing it all the way back to that original name and almost sort of the original idea behind the system. And we're close to the streaming, the Play Anywhere that they've been talking about for a long time will be coming with this device. So it should, I mean, although confusing maybe at the front end for, like I said, parents earlier, not for us who know what's going on. But you play Xbox, you can play it on your phone, you can play it on this little box, you can play it wherever. I don't know. It's the messaging now becomes key, right? The advertising.
Yeah, it totally does. I think they've got the products in there, and they have made, like Shane said, they've made some real kind of strides in this past year, particularly with Game Pass. And that kind of infrastructure now that they've got at Microsoft is going to make it very easy for, streaming games, not actually owning them, and kind of just going down that route with it. So definitely, I think the advertisement, having that one little box and being able to stream, stream off it, like say, on your mobile phone and all other things like that will be super important to how they approach it. They just need it to be a bit transparent, but it's definitely piqued my interest. I mean, I've got rid of my One X recently, but that was primarily because I'm on PC. But also, this new console's coming out at the end of 2020 for holiday time, and for me, it's backwards compatible, so I don't really need the One X and then the new one. I do wish they'd have kept the name Scarlet. I did like that. But I think, like you say, advertising key, and make sure that everyone's aware, this is the new shiny, this is what it does. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this stream in the future as long as it's done right.
Yeah, and design for me at least, I'm curious what you guys think, Shane and Carl, but I keep it on a shelf under the TV. I really don't want to see my consoles. I kind of want them to be hidden into the entertainment center or into the wall or wherever. I don't want them to stand out like a sore thumb. So I've never been huge on very colorful, some of the variant consoles that come out. Dreamcast was kind of goofy looking, I guess, but I like the design. The GameCube was just kind of a weird looking device to have under the TV. I guess what I'm saying here is if it goes under the TV and you don't really see it, just kind of blends into everything, I'm cool. I just don't like when it's like becomes ugly to the point where it's an eyesore in your cabinet there. And it's definitely not that.
Yeah, it's nice when it fits in with, your cable box or whatever you got under. You got your, VHS player or whatnot. Whatever the kids have under their TVs nowadays. But if you arc back to the Xbox One when that came out, that thing was hideous. That is an ugly console. It was way too big for the time. It didn't look good. And, after they came out with the 1S, redesigned it, that console looks really sharp. It's small, it's compact, really nice design to it, really updated, kind of maybe what they were going for and whatnot. And then the 1X came out, and that was just super sleek, just really, really nice. That kind of almost kind of like a stealth gray, not quite a jet black to it. Really, really, really sharp. So there's hope. I mean, this is just the first. I don't know, it's not the first design. Obviously, I hope it's not the first design. That'd be a bit worrisome, wouldn't it, guys? But I mean, we'll see what happens. It's kind of nervous how people say, "Oh, you can just turn it on the side." Well, what about the heat, though? I'm sure there's vents in the back and whatnot, and maybe some perforation on the sides. But most of it looks like it's on the top there. So it's kind of awkward to be standing up so straight like that. But we'll see what they do. I think they have there might be a good idea for a slimmer model might be a bit more pretty under the TV or whatnot.
Yeah, I don't get how on the internet after this thing was announced, there's people complaining that it's ugly. I mean, really? I mean, what do you want from your consoles? Does it have to be quote unquote sexy? I think that's really that's some really nerdy shit right there. Like I needs to be a sexy, sleek looking device, and it has to have a little blue line in the middle creeping out or what's up with that whole argument? I didn't, like I said, this thing is not ugly. It may not be gorgeous, but it's not ugly. It looks like it should look. It's a box. It's a console. It's got a disk drive. That's important. But yeah, the whole murmur, and we get a lot of that being me on the XPS Nation show and all those PlayStation, get a little bit of fanboys kind of around us at times. This doesn't look like a PS4. This sucks. Okay. You're not buying one anyway. They don't care. Good for you.
It is a strange fixation. Like I do love my Spider-Man Pro. I think it's very cool, but I only dropped on that because it was Marvel, and Spider-Man's cool. But generally, I think you want your stuff under the TV to blend in with the rest of the stuff that you've got. Like, I don't necessarily not want to see it, but I do want it to be, look nice and tidy. And I think this, this Series X, it looks sleek. It looks tidy, and yeah, it might not be sexy, but as long as the games are good, it doesn't really matter. It looks solid and robust, which was the one thing I really liked about the One X. I thought that was a hell of a well made, solid console. You could feel the build quality in it. Whereas you pick up the PS4, the Pro, it still feels a little bit too flexible, a bit plasticky, but it's still a nice looking machine. But I'm quite happy. If it can be knocked over and still keep on ticking, that's the only thing I'm really worried about.
Yeah, it seems like some people have become obsessed with like angular. It's got to have like little angles on it and little crevices here and there. And nah, man, those just all gather dust. Those are bad for my OCD compulsions. I'm not really a gaming shelf guy. I think that there's quite a few people and nerdy people out there who put their big statues up on there, as Carl bends away and shows us his cabinet behind him. Yeah, okay.
Whoopsie.
Changing the subject.
No, dude, I get it. I totally get it. I've amassed stuff over the years, and to be fair,
amassed stuff.
Yeah. The missus said to me the other day, said, "Oh, because you're a collector, you collect like
stuff,
not junk, but like she was kind of saying, yeah, you collect stuff. That's what you do." And I'm like, no, I don't. And then I kind of looked around and I was like, yeah, I kind of do, I guess. But now I think as you get older, I think the urge to kind of minimalize that stuff. I think when you're younger, you're certainly like, I want this game collection. I want all, I want the stuff. And it kind of like, I don't know, you kind of get a sense of achievement from it, I guess. When you're a little bit younger, I think when you get older, a lot of priorities change. You're like, I just want to be able to to play the games. I'm good, man. I can download them all, stream them all. It's fine. But yeah, I still like, I'm sat here with Mjolnir behind me, Thor's hammer. So I do like to click the odd bit of stuff. But generally, I think people do go OCD with it, like just too far.
Yeah, you've got a nice shelf back there, and then Shane's got a great retro collection, which I think is awesome. That to me, that's a little bit different. I meant like those people that like when the collector's editions come out, they want the statues, they want the art book, you can go a little overboard on that stuff. And your shelf back there, Carl, is a little bit more tasteful, in my opinion. It's not like, you love Uncharted, so you have to have every Nathan Drake character ever made and all the baubles and all that. You're not taking it too far.
No, he just does the costume.
Looks good on him, though.
That's true. Yeah. Not anymore. I've got long hair now.
Ooh.
Well, last episode, we talked about our backlog, talked about making a commitment to getting through some of these games that we bought and haven't played, or maybe played part of the way through, especially as we lead up to the Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5, whatever Switch may do with a Pro or something, before the next consoles are launched. Holiday 2020 was the date that Xbox gave in their trailer, assuming PlayStation will be right around that same time frame, sometime in the fall, perhaps. And we last episode chatted quite a bit about all the games we want to get through, decided to think on it, sleep on it, come back, get your feedback, and decide which games kind of like finalize the list of things we really want to play. There was some conversation about getting through it before we could buy the next console, or getting through, I think we talked in a chat privately about maybe getting through a game before you buy another game. Did you guys come up with any sort of like carrots to dangle in front of yourself as far as that kind of thing? A commitment to the commitment, if you will?
Well, I was going with the whole, finish a game before you buy one. Because that was probably the most talked about rule. And I don't like rules. I tend to break rules. So I did break that rule as soon as I could, because that's what I do. Well, somebody's going to give me a rule and I'm going to break it every single time. That's what I do. This is what you're getting from me. So that rule of you can't buy a game until you beat one, broken. Done. Not doing that.
It's your own rule. It's your own rule.
However, I will fill you in on what I did. When we all got together here in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, each morning we chill out. We're having a few coffees. Head might have ached a little bit, depending on who you ask. But Joel was playing this gorgeous game on the Switch called the Gris, I think it's called.
Yeah.
GRIS. Beautiful, very calming game. And it came out on PlayStation 4 and whatnot as well. But I was waiting to see if there was a physical copy coming. And it turns out Limited Run Games opened up a pre-order shortly after we recorded the last episode where we talked about the backlog. So without finishing game, I went and pre-ordered that because I thought it was a great piece to have in the collection. Some great memories in watching Joel get through that game, and more of an ABOG thing for me. So the rule's not quite broken, but come on, man. That's what I do, man. I break rules.
I put my arms up in the air to celebrate. I was expecting you to just announce that you bought a Switch, but I came up a little bit short there on that expectation. What system is that game coming out for now?
Well, I got on the PS4.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's cool piece, and looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I'm going along with the same rule. I am going to stick to it. So next year there are some games I really, really am super excited for. Not too many, but enough that I'm thinking, right, okay, I can do this challenge. I can finish these games before I buy another one. But I do use a rental service as well, so I kind of think that kind of gives me a little bit of a workaround, just in case, in case I kind of slip through. I'm not breaking the rule, but perhaps bending it just a little bit. But I don't think I'll have too much of a problem. There's games on this backlog. When I've looked at it, and I'm like, oh man, I really need to have finished some of these games. I really need to be going back. I owe it to myself, and you, the listener, as well, to comment on them and to say how great they were and how we wish to have played them back when they came out, which I'm sure will happen. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this next year. I'm ready for the challenge. I'm going to do as many as I can. I've got a big backlog of games. I'm going to stick a few definites in there, but there definitely will be ones that I'll just be picking up and going through.
I've been inspired by our listener and our mutual friend, Tim Paulin, who really, he kind of inspired the whole discussion on the last episode because I've been watching him all year with this. He made a commitment in 2019 to not buy any games at all and just to attack the backlog, which I thought was really inspiring. It's a great commitment. I'm going to take a page from his book with a slight tweak. So in 2020, I'm challenging myself to not buy anything, nothing, until the new systems launch. At that point, I'll buy a system, I'll buy a launch game to go with it, something to make it look new and shiny on the screen. But, and Carl brought up a rental service, I have Game Pass. So I can not buy a game and still get a lot of new games through Game Pass. So that'll be my crutch. If it comes out in Game Pass and it's new, I didn't buy it. That's what I'm doing. So thank you, Tim. I think that was a really good inspiration. And then one more caveat. Animal Crossing's coming in March. I've got to get that for my wife and I to play it together. Yep, Shane's shaking his head no. I'm buying that game as well. So that doesn't count. I'm putting that one aside. Don't hold that one against me. I could just buy it for her, but it's going to be multiplayer. So we got to play it together. So that's it for me. No new games until the new consoles, except for whatever comes out on Game Pass, which I'm not buying any of those. I'll just get those with the service, and Animal Crossing. Do you think I can do it, Shane?
You guys are such lawyers. Just the worst.
Yeah, but I'm also one to go break my promises too.
Anything that comes out on Xbox is going to Game Pass. Like that's the easiest commitment. Like I'm not going to buy any games. Well, because they all come on Game Pass. Every brand new game that comes out in there is coming out on Game Pass.
But nothing's coming
but
until
I like what
the
you
new.
did there. You found a loophole and you went with it, and that I applaud you for.
Nothing's coming until the new console on Xbox. There's no first party except for Ori Will and the Will of the Wisps. That's coming in the spring,
right?
I don't know. Is that a crappy loophole? Should I not?
No.
Should I not do that?
Not at all.
I'm just poking fun at the whole Game Pass thing. That's all.
I'm still spending no money on games, and I'm making a dedication to my backlog.
No, and I think when you knock one off, it opens up the door for you know getting an Animal Crossing or a new Forza or whatever. I think that's a good asterisk to have there. Like once you knock one off, there the door's open, the freedom's there if you want to go ahead and pick up a new game.
You know what else I'd like to do, and this one's going to be more challenging. This is a new wrinkle.
Uh-oh.
New console. We got PS5 and Xbox Series X and whatever other series is coming in the fall. I already got a Switch. I'd like to try and not get both of those consoles and just pick one. I'd like to try and this is be tough for me. I got them all, right? I want to try and pick just one and make a commitment to just the one, at least in 2020, as part of this backlog commitment. Just try and be a smart consumer, pick which one of those consoles I think is the right one to start with, and then hold off on buying both of them out the gate.
Excellent idea.
That's sensible.
So what's on our list? We highlighted a few from last conversation, backlog games we want to get through. I'll start with mine. I've got God of War, which I'm playing now. That's getting knocked off the list first. Red Dead Redemption 2. After seeing the sequel announced, and I played a little bit of this before and thought it was really cool, Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. I want to play through that. I rose that to the top of my list. Luigi's Mansion 3 on the Switch, and Shane and I agreed together Resident Evil 2 remake in 2020 before next console. So those are the 5 out of the 10 or 12 I put on my list that I want to for sure make sure I get through. And then I may get to a few of the others because I'm not buying anything, right? So Shadow of the Tomb Raider is way up there for me. Love to play Sunset Overdrive, Titanfall 2 campaign, Ori and the Blind Forest. I cannot get Ori and the Will of the Wisps until I at least beat that Blind Forest.
Yeah.
So maybe that's an extra add-on wrinkle to this. Dying Light, which my coworker Evan said I must play. And he made a really convincing argument. Uncharted 4, Horizon Zero Dawn I never finished, although I got close. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, I fell out of love with quickly. And The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Those are all on my list. But top 5 I want to hit for sure. God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2, Hellblade, Luigi's Mansion 3, and Resident Evil 2 Remake. What do you guys got?
Yeah. What am I doing? Resident Evil 2, Assassin's Creed Unity, Red Dead Redemption 2, Uncharted 2. There's another one I desperately want to play because apparently that's one of the greatest games ever made. So that's a definite must.
Nice list, gents. For me, I'm definitely going to do Dark Souls 3. I need to tick that off and put that to bed. It's too good not to. I'm going to go through the Witcher 3 DLCs as well. I've had those for too long not to have played them. So definitely going to be getting through Blood and Wine and Hearts of Stone. And then Star Wars Battlefront 2, the campaign, which I keep starting and then stopping. I own the game on the Xbox and the PS4, which is probably not my smartest move, and then not really have played it. So I definitely want to get through that. And then 2 old Star Wars games, which again, big RPGs that I've owned for God knows how many years and never really played more than an hour or two. And that is the Knights of the Old Republic games. So both 1 and 2, the Sith Lords, I shall get through those. And other than that, it is RPG heavy. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna, that's one I started. Fantastic. But just never got around to finishing. So I'm playing that the minute as it stands, trying to get an early tick in the box just in case I want to buy a game in the new year or even after Christmas. You never know. And I really want to play through the Telltale Batman, the second one, The Enemy Within. Again, just not got round to getting that one knocked off yet. But other than that, I'll definitely get through those. And then there's a few others on there. Again, Shadow of the Tomb Raider Joel is on mine. Donut County. I've got a couple of chunky RPGs in there, which I really want to try and get through as well. In Ni no Kuni 2, Revenant Kingdom, Dragon's Dogma. I've got Divinity Original Sin in there, and a couple of Naruto games as well. I've got the first and the fourth. I played through the second and third. I thought they were excellent, and never got around to playing the first and the fourth. So I think as we go through the shows next year, we can kind of tick these off. I'm going to challenge my co-hosts here and just said we keep this little spreadsheet that we've got and we just tick them off as we go along, keep a little friendly tally of games that we finish next year, just to keep gee us up a little bit, and we don't have to limit the backlog to the ones that we talk about now. If you've owned the game, and you want to just sit down for a couple of hours and it's a short one you can get through, then we'll get it done and just talk a little bit about it on the show. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, agreed. I don't want to limit it to all the ones we just listed. I've bought an embarrassingly high number of games I've never played. That list is a lot longer than the list we just read out here. And as you were talking, Carl, I added my friend Pedro to the list because it'll be one I'd like to also tick off, maybe potentially there in 2020. All right, guys. Good chat. Look, I'm playing God of War right now, and man, I really missed out on that one. What a great game so far that's been. And even the wife, when I'm playing it in the evening after work and stuff, as we're kind of hanging out, getting ready for bed, she's watching me play it, and she's like, hey, she'll look away, play her iPad game, and come back like, what just happened? Like, she's into the story. Kind of cool. Who's that little kid? Why is he following you around? What's going on?
Yeah, man, it's such a good game. And I'm really glad you're playing that. Like, with you going through that, and obviously Uncharted 2 is on Shane's list, and I'm like, yeah, you need to do that. I wanted to talk about that on the show, and I'm chuffed that both of you have picked Red Dead 2. Because I'm interested in seeing how that story pans out without me actually having to play it. So I'm looking forward to that.
We got a spoiler for you, or what?
Little story time for old Palmer.
Yeah, story time. Yeah, you can spoil that.
And Shane, we got to coordinate like the Res 2 and maybe Red Dead. I know you were ticking off a mission a night or something for a while, right? You still doing that, or what? When are you going to get to that one? Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, my whole mission a day thing. Yeah, it's been working out great. I haven't touched it in months.
Sarcasm. Got it. I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I said I'd do that, and then it was like 2 days later. It's like, oh, I just can't. That's going to be a chore getting through. However, I have made it through. I think I just got the tail end because I'm in chapter 4, and chapter 4 is supposed to be really short. It's only a handful of missions, but then 5 is like a really big, and then 6 is like a couple missions and an epilogue. So got to put my work boots on, to get through that one. But we'll do, man. We'll do, because I really want that 100 gigs off my hard drive. So
yeah, I don't think I'm not as far as you, so I don't think we'll be able to plan that one together. But maybe Resident Evil 2 remaster, we can plot it through at the same time or something. Be kind of fun.
There you go. Let's do it.
Well, before we get over to the footies, the 8th annual, our favorites of the year games. Should we share what we're drinking?
Yeah.
Shane, you got something special. You're planning ahead. You plan something special, so I feel like you should go first.
Yeah, I'm a bit of an overthinker.
Wait, hold on. Before we get there, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. We forgot to go through all the community email and
yeah, we should probably give the community a little bit of props here.
We should.
Oh yeah.
So we got an email from Colum, and he said, "Hey lads, happy Christmas. 2019, where did that year go? It was a great year for both music and gaming and life. For me, I rediscovered the joys of heavy metal music." Hey, Carl, you're rubbing off on him.
Oh, yes. yeah, good taste, Colin. That's all I'll say.
Slayer being my most listened to group on Spotify. Nice job. I love all kinds of music, but this year was about angry, long-haired men in tight jeans.
Yeah, never mind. No comment.
It's like that guy we look at every episode, Shane.
Yeah.
I'm always angry.
I'm glad you're not wearing tight jeans, though. Appreciate that. I always look forward.
Nothing. No.
Oh, good. I always look forward to your podcast. It's such a great mix of all things. I love gaming, beering, and music. So here is my games to finish before PS5 comes out. They're all huge games, but they need to be finished before I can move on. Number 1, GTA 5. I've still to finish any game in the series.
Oh, buddy, that's a great game, man. You're going to enjoy finishing that one. Definitely hunker down and get through that. You'll enjoy it.
At number 2, Red Dead Redemption. The first one, I think. I shall fight through the boring barrier and finish this game, he says. That wasn't that bad. Dragon Age Inquisition at number 3. Yes, hard to believe this game came out on last gen and current gen. It took me 7 years to finish Dragon Age Origins.
Great game. I've never played Origins or the second one. I jumped straight in at Dragon Age Inquisition. I could not put that game down. Yeah, I think I finished it within a month or so after it came out. Brilliant. You got to get stuck into that one, Colin.
At number 4, he's got Fallout 4. Well, after playing over 100 hours on the less impressive Fallout 76, I need to finish 4. And then last but not least, and I'm sure gets Carl's vote again here, number 5, Diablo 3. I've triple dipped on this, yet I've still managed to not finish any copy of it.
If you ever need a hand, Colin, I think I own this on every platform. More than happy to play through some with you, buddy. It's a great co-op game.
He says he hopes to see you at EGX, Carl. Maybe you guys can get some in-person Diablo 3 co-op going.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
We heard from Dave, who's yet Yellowbug1969 on Twitter. That's where he hit us up. He says, I think I might join the band of gamers by pledging a few games to finish before the PS5 launches. Thanks, Dave. Glad to have you here with us. Should be fun. Number 1, Death Stranding. Number 2, The Council. Number 3, COD Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, the campaign. He's also got on his list, Carl, at number 4, Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign.
Oh, yeah.
He's got on number 5, Man of Medan, which, shit, I want to play that one too. That's the what's the Beyond Two Souls, right?
It's the guys who did the horror game. What was it called?
I forget the name of it. That's why I just said Beyond Two Souls. What the hell's the name of that game? That was a cool game.
Yeah, I completely forgot the name of it too.
So good, I forgot the name of it. And at number 6, Yakuza 0.
Great game. Also on my list as well. I need to finish that.
So anybody else in on this, hit us up. You can join us on our Discord. Got a Facebook group, or just tweet at us at A Band of Gamers. Let us know if you're into the backlog thing and if you want to join in. And we could help by including your choices on the show. Maybe tick them off with you, or you can share as you're going. Tick them off on here. A little extra motivation. Okay, Shane. Sorry, man. What are you drinking, pal?
No, man, it's all good, man. All right. Okay, where do I start with? Okay. Parallel 49, favorite brewery, blah, blah. Every year they're part of they do like an advent calendar. Over the past few years, they teamed up with another local brewery and they all split them and whatnot. So every day you open the box and you get a different beer to try. Well, this year they've kind of gone out on their own. So all 24 beers are all parallel. Fantastic thing. Super, super pumped. It's been great going through it so far. Didn't really know what to expect. But a couple weeks ago, one of the first ones was a beer they call Hoparazzi. And this goes back to the beginning of Parallel. This was one of their first beers, one of the first original, always around, staples. Like I think they started off with about four beers they started out with. This was one of them. This is an IPL, an India Pale Lager. And what makes this special is this was the very first Parallel 49 beer I ever had. They have since retired it for a number of years now. And I've kind of, poked at them a little bit on social media, like, hey, you bring Hoparazzi back, even just, like a limited, get it in the brew house, the brew room there, the tap bar or the watering hole, whatever they call them. But yeah, super stoked. I haven't had one of these in probably about 6 years. So this one's come a long way. Drank a lot of beers, gained a number of pounds. So thank you very much, Parallel. Super pumped. It's nice. It's not too lagery looking, a little bit darker than a lager. Traditionally, the label on it was a really kind of like a greasy paparazzi guy. His shirt was open. You see the chest hair and whatnot. Big camera, just a real slimy looking, just a real jerk. So we didn't get that one on this one. They kind of went with like an ugly sweater kind of go at all the labels for the advent pack. So nothing special there. But yeah, Hoparazzi, man, super pumped. It can take my first sip in like 6 years. Oh, welcome home. A little maltiness in there, a little malty, little bitterness, but still really, really crisp. Great summer beer, man. That hits the spot.
Yeah, I couldn't have planned this better. I didn't know that this was what you were doing, Shane, but I'm also feeling kind of a little bit of nostalgia. Every time we do the footies, kind of think about it's the 8th time we've done this. How many times? We've been doing this every year since the beginning of ABOG. Shane joined ABOG in 2013, 6 years ago. Same amount of time that he last had this beer. So that's like a really good tie into kind of how I'm feeling and what I'm drinking. So I decided to go backwards in time a little bit too. One of the beers I drank early on this show, way back when, was Shane Fantasy Factory.
Whoa.
Fantasy Factory. Karben 4 out of Madison. Also kind of a malty, hoppy. It's an IPA, though. It's not a lager. Very similar in color. But nice hoppy, kind of an old standby. I have to admit my palate has grown a lot over the 6 years we've been doing this, drinking beer on the show. I don't buy this one a whole lot. It's not as good, let's say, as a lot of the beers I drink nowadays. I've gotten spoiled. But I had record night here the other day. We did a little holiday spin record night. Somebody left it in my fridge. Whoever you are, I love you. Thank you. So I got like a 5-pack of Fantasy Factory in the fridge. Picking one out today. I'm like, you know what? For nostalgia's sake, for ABOG, I'm going all the way back to the Fantasy Factory. So cheers. Kind of same page shit there, Shane.
How cool is that, man? Right on, buddy.
Yeah. All right, Carl. No pressure. What you got?
Well, you two have gone heavy on the nostalgia. I've kind of gone the other way, and I've picked probably my favourite beer of the year, really. It's one I drink all the time. It's Elvis Juice. I have it in the fridge all the time, and I was like, do I get something special? And I've just run out of time. So I'm cheering in our favourites of the year show, our gaming part with a delicious Elvis juice, which it's my go-to. Like I drink it everywhere I can that I've got it, and it doesn't. It's done me well, I think, over the course of 2019. It's grapefruit IPA. It's delicious. It's BrewDog. What more could you ask for?
Well, cheers, guys. Raise the glasses. Doing a podcast for 7 years has a lot of ups and downs. It ain't easy, especially when you're not listened to by 30,000 people. Although that can change. So tell your friends. But I would rather not be doing this at all if it wasn't for you two guys. So cheers, Shane and Carl. Thanks for being here with me and for ABOG to Footies number 9 next year.
Here, boys.
To ABOG. Cheers, boys.
Footies, favorites of the year. If you're new to ABOG, what we do here is we don't do a games of the year. We do our favorites of the year. If we enjoyed it and it's still not a great game, still counts. We had fun with it 'cause we play games for fun, right? We're not critics. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
Man, I have a few friends who are kind of more in the industry who are more critical of gaming, and man, they're some angry people. It's just, I played this game and it sucked. I'm like, why'd you play it? I had to review it. Like that's exactly what I wanted not to do when we started ABOG. It was all about having fun, right? So I like that we do this form of it. So I'm sure there are plenty of games out there that are much better than the ones we're about to list, critically. But the games we had the most fun with, and I don't know what in the hell we're going to do in 2020. If we really hit that backlog, we're not going to have a whole lot. We'll figure something out when we get there.
More incentive to finish games.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Let's just do like a conversation here. Some round robin. Let's take turns kind of going through our favorites of the year.
Yeah.
Shane mentioned earlier us 3 being in Vancouver. He watched me play Gris. Shit, I might as well start with that one, I guess, then right away. That's a 2018 game that I played in 2019, so I'm counting it. That's a great game. Very beautiful, color, watercolor look to it. It's a platformer. There's no words. There's no voices. It's all done through music and phenomenal animation. Very stylized game. Emotional. It tugs at your heartstrings a little bit. It's got a very somber, sullen feel to it, but also a little bit of persevering, strength through tough times kind of feel as well.
There's some clever puzzles, I remember. So, some different parts on the map and whatnot that you'd have to get to, and it adds to that perseverance of playing through, which only heightens the emotional attachment you get from a game.
Yeah, it was a super nice little surprise. This was, there we are chilling out in Vancouver. Like Shane says, get up in the morning, just blow the cobwebs out a little bit, cup of coffee, and Joel sat playing this game, and it was kind of mesmerizing. Even though there isn't really very much dialogue in it, in terms of voice acting, the story, it does kind of pull you in, and it's so pretty. And we found, myself and Shane were kind of like helping out a little bit, kind of watching, like, what about, go back to there, and can you, because you're trying to get through to different parts of the levels and stuff. It pulls you in. It was a really nice game, and one that I've had a little look, and I really want to try and get through it, but so many games to play. But definitely a nice little sleeper hit. This one, little surprise.
Yeah, especially I got to play with you guys too. That was cool, and I think I beat it there with you guys there present, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. We were the cheerleaders.
Great game. 2018 release, but I played it in 2019, and I think it came out maybe mid to late year 18. Very good experience.
Well, I think all of mine did come out in 2019. And I think, obviously, given the size of the backlog and our conversations around it for next year, it wasn't too hard. This was for me. I was kind of going through thinking, okay, which are the best games that I've enjoyed the most? And really, it's the ones that I've actually persevered with and finished. The ones that didn't seem not too much of a chore. So for me, the biggest surprise on this list is Rage 2. This is the Bethesda shooter follow up to Rage back on the PS3, and it was really solid. Like it's not breaking down any doors. It's not like the best shooter of the year or anything like that. But I enjoyed it. It kept pulling me back in. The shooting was really fun. The gunplay was really solid. Just a fun little game. Blowing people with a shotgun straight up front, and just watching them the chunks fly. The world was kind of a bit Mad Maxy, this nice little open world. It wasn't very full, it didn't feel like a full RPG or anything, but it was a shooter with just these little sprinkling of nice things. And I enjoyed it. I played it through to the end, finished the game. And yeah, I have recommended it to people. And I think, some of those have gone on to enjoy it as well. So it's currently out on Game Pass as well. Like if you haven't played it, check out that Game Pass service, give it a go. It's a fun and solid little shooter, and one I enjoyed this year.
You want to go next, Shane?
I got a little spoiled by lucking out and getting so many great Super Nintendo games in the beginning of the year, where I kind of backed off on buying the current gen stuff. So a lot of the games I played this year were, Super Nintendo stuff, and I'm not going to dig back from '93 is now all of a sudden a favorite of the year in 2019. It didn't seem right, but I did get so many great games on that console, and it's made a big impact on me going forward with gaming. Not where I have to pick out every great new AAA game that comes out. I'm really kind of waiting on a lot of that stuff, and if it be a couple of years before I pick up, Death Stranding or God of War or whatnot, I'm not hurt by that, because there's so many other games out there that are great that I've been playing. But I can't stress enough how great Shakedown Hawaii is. It's top down, old school GTA. The same guys that did, or the same guy that did Retro City Rampage. But this is much more fine tuned, more complete. It's a real gameplay. It's just so good. It's colorful. It's Hawaii. There's man, this game has been such a joy to play this year. It's fantastic. I can't recommend this enough. And if you have, if you play a lot of your Vita, if you have a Switch that you play on the go, Shakedown Hawaii is a must-have. I firmly believe it's a must-have game for, if you have a handheld and whatnot. Mind you, I do play a lot on my PS4 on the big screen and whatnot, because that's probably where I'm most comfortable gaming and whatnot. And then, when the old lady's watching her show and I'm off the TV and whatnot, then the cross save and I'm right over playing on the Vita, my Vita version and whatnot. And it's brilliant, but I think it got overlooked quite a bit this year. I think it should be a little bit more popular than what it is. But I don't know if you guys have, my cohorts here, have had a chance to pick this one up and try it out or whatnot yet. But if you haven't, look into it. Shakedown Hawaii, and it's only like $20, I think, or maybe $25. But it's a really, really great game. A lot of depth in it. So yeah,
nice. I've still got the original to play. That's in my backlog, Shane. Should I be adding that to the list? Do you think I need to be playing that?
You'd probably replace Retro City Rampage with it, because it's just such it's a lot more. How much better the colors are. There's so many more colors, and the gameplay, the visuals, everything is just it's just a treat. And I'm not knocking Retro City Rampage. He had a great idea and what he's doing and whatnot, but this one's just the evolution of this man's game making really, really shows in Shakedown Hawaii, and I think it's probably the one. Obviously, it'd be the best thing he's done. Because I know the studio is just like one dude, and he's outsourced, a couple other companies and whatnot to help, with some of the hurdles and whatnot. But it's basically a one-man show, really.
So maybe want to think about grabbing that if it comes on sale. I think you make a good point there, Shane, about not holding off from some of these AAA games, the big ones, and be like, okay, I'll pick them up, maybe further on down the line. The strange thing that I found this year is, of all the games on my list, most of them tend to have performance issues or glitches or something that generally would normally put me off playing a game. And I just think it's just the way it's fallen this year. Rage 2 obviously had a few Bethesda glitches, so just things not being there. Sprite glitches, people through the floor, and all the rest of it. Another game on my list is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on the Switch. Fantastic story. Like, I really enjoyed what they did with the whole Thanos and Infinity Stone storyline. It's completely independent, and that was a good time. I enjoyed that, but it's still performance issues, a little bit stuttering, a little bit laggy in places. The camera was just frustrating, but I kept coming back and I kept enjoying the game. I kept giving it my time, and again played through, finished it, and I've gone back and picked off different missions and unlocked other costumes and things like that. But it does seem to be a recurring theme with me. The games I'll talk about, none of them are perfect. Every single one of them probably have benefited from a few patches, before you picked up that game and jumped in. So I get it, mate. I totally get why you might think, I'll give that a bit of time.
Next one on my list is one from 2018 that I played in 19. And then to help Shane flush out his list, I'm going to give him one, the second off my list, to kind of start another conversation. You'll see in a second here. But looking at my list to get the title exactly correct, The Gardens Between. I was going to say the good and the gardens and the bad and the evil. I was going to mess up that name. But The Gardens Between. Great game. Came out 18, played it 19. Puzzle-y. A little bit of platforming, not really, but you can rewind. You can manipulate time to solve these puzzles. And there's a relationship that's center in the game between a young lady and a young man. And it's their friendship that's really front and center as you play through the puzzles. Another one like Gris, that at the end I needed a little bit of Kleenex to help me kind of finish this one off. Very touching story, very emotional. So my first two choices have that in common. But The Gardens Between, if you haven't played that, and I went and got the Tim Thiel soundtrack as well. Vinyl Me Please had an exclusive release of that on record. Pick that up. Very good music in that game. The Gardens Between, available on all systems. Excellent game. I don't know if it's on Game Pass. It might be. I can't remember. Should have prepped a little bit. And now to give Shane one. When we were in Vancouver, we passed the pad quite a bit, the Nintendo Switch pad, around the room, and took turns with this. Pretty cool game. And my first, and the last time I mentioned, I won't mention any more 2018 games. It's all 2019 on. This is the start of that. You know what I'm talking about, Shane?
I'm picking up what you're putting down, son.
Go ahead. Get us started. What'd you think of that Switch game that we passed the pad on in Vancouver?
I'm hoping you're thinking of Tetris 99, because if you're not, this is going to be really awkward for the next few minutes.
That's it.
That is such a great game. That one really kind of sold me on the Switch. Yeah, we played that and just sitting on the couches, tossing it back and forth. I mean, it felt like a kid again. It felt like I was 8 years old. Passing the controller, playing Bubble Bobble, or something like that. It's just that was the atmosphere. I mean, it's just some great beers. Passing out who will survive. Who will you got ranked 11th or something, and then somebody got 9th, and it was just like, it's staying up late. Oh man, it's fantastic. Apart from sitting cross-legged on the floor, with the wire connected to the troller, that's such a great game, and well deserving to be on this list for, just moments like that.
I'd second that. A lot of fun I had with that game this year. It's one that I've got my son Luke into it. He's been playing quite a bit of Tetris 99. Every time I see him, and he's got like a new skin on it. I kind of jump in that game and I play a little bit here and there, and I never quite manage to unlock any of the skins and things that that you kind of discover. And he comes around, and he's like, "Oh, Dad, I got all this. Got this one, this one, this one." I'm like, man, I should have persevered and played a few more games back to back, to try and unlock those skins. But I think for a free game, it's very cool. The nice little unlocks and customization things are cool. And it's a damn good game of Tetris. I like the way you can battle and send your blocks to other people and all the rest of that. That's pretty cool. And you just want to try and play at a time that's good for you in terms of localization. Because once some of the pro players from Japan get online, it's a tough time. Then, man, you struggle to get in the top 15 or whatever. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. A great time in Vancouver passing that round. It did make you feel like you was kids again.
At good accessibility. Everyone knows how to play Tetris, right? I mean, that's a game that goes all the way back to the Game Boy. It's a great game to play with your spouse. I started passing that controller here on the couch with my wife, and then took that same pass the controller experience with me to Vancouver, and figured it'd be great to get these guys in on it. And we did. And it's also accessible from the extent it's, air quotes, free. It's part of the Nintendo service. So if you subscribe to Nintendo's online service, which is cheap, $20 a year, you get a bunch of Nintendo games, SNES games included in that, and they threw in Tetris 99. So didn't pay a cent for it. And one of the games I had the most fun with in 19.
Awesome.
You want to go next, Carl?
Yeah, another game I had some fun in 2019, and I'm still having some fun with this game, is The Outer Worlds, the lovely little RPG from Obsidian. And a surprise to everybody. I think it looked cool. It kind of looked like a Fallout with a bit of space exploration and stuff. When the trailers were dropping, and no one really expected, I don't think, this game to be as good as it is. It's not a fully AAA polished, role play game by any any means, but it's really good. It's really solid. The character interactions, the dialogue is very fun. It's hilarious in parts. The humor in it, and it's just instantly accessible. It's got a really great kind of leveling up system, perks, and different abilities. And I've really enjoyed my time with it. I'm hoping it's not on my backlog list because I'm hoping I'll try and get it done before the end of the year. However, if it does roll into next year, I'll put it on my list. But I'd recommend it to anybody. I think if you like Fallout, if you're a fan of those earlier Fallout games, definitely worth your time jumping into it. It's not mega long either compared to some RPGs. I think it clocks in at around about 20 hours, so you can mainline those missions quite easily. And nice little surprise for this year, and thoroughly enjoyable RPG.
The folks at Hello Games must hate that game,
right?
Think so?
All the screenshots I've seen, it's like it resembles. It looks like what No Man's Sky could have been, but it looks amazing. I've hovered across the buy button a few times over the past few weeks, but I am I don't need another. I got enough campaigns to go through before picking one of those up, so I'll hold off and let that get down a little bit cheaper. Because that's the other thing. Games up here in Canada, the Canadese price for things, man, it's still pretty crazy up here, boys. So, which is also kind of nice because then I'm not buying too much. So, Outer Worlds will have to wait.
Well, I know Shane mentioned he played a lot of SNES, and then check out our Instagram, @ABandofGamers, to see all of the great retro games Shane has played and bought in 2019. Man, I'm very envious of that retro shelf that you're building over there, Shane. So because of that, I'm sorry.
I'm grateful to have so many great mom and pop shops in this area that always have they're still popular enough that stock is always rotating. There's always something new. Every time I go to Willow Games, there's always something new in their SNES section and whatnot, and I always find something there that is a good price as well. Like, just picked up Legend of Mystical Ninja, fantastic SNES game, great little RPG, and stupid cheap. I'm not even going to say it was stupid cheap, and you luck out. So that's been a lot of fun for me this year.
Yeah, shout out to Willow Games. And the next one, or the last one on Shane's list from 2019, is also on Carl's list. So I think sorry with you, Carl, we'll save it for last.
Yeah, we'll hang on to that one for a bit. Yeah.
We can get a good chat there at the end. I've got another one on my Switch, although now available the 17th. So by the time you're hearing this, more than likely, it's now available on the PS4 and the Xbox One. And that's Untitled Goose Game, where you play, I think it's a one-person dev team. You play a little goose who has to basically just annoy the crap out of the neighborhood. You have to wreck the neighborhood as a little annoying goose. And it's such a great game. My wife was just rolling. I was not allowed to play this game unless she was present. She's just laughing hysterically as I'm making my way through this. Steal a key, go up and goose somebody on their ass, just cause havoc as a little goose in this cute little fun little game, which I highly encourage you to check out because it's available everywhere now. But Untitled Goose Game, which I played first on the Switch.
Another one that I hovered over buying, but never ever did, just because it seemed a little bird heavy. But
bird heavy. Who doesn't like honking at strangers? I mean, come on. It's I want to play this. I'm desperate to get on it. But good news, so it's come to the other consoles as well.
Play it, you guys, and everybody else out there. It's a short game, couple hours. There's a little bit of depth in there, and some of the challenges that you can go through. Good stuff. What's next on your list, Carl?
Awesome. Yeah, next on my list, no surprise if you listen to the last show and I think the one before, Jedi Fallen Order.
Whoa!
Again. Yeah.
Dark Horse.
It's a Star Wars game. When I start playing these, I tend to just not play anything else. But yeah, it's the best Star Wars game in a long time. A lovely mix of Uncharted, Tomb Raider with a bit of Dark Souls combat thrown in there. It's got a really strong story. I really enjoyed what they did with the story. And I think if you're a Star Wars fan, you want to be getting on it. It does have its performance issues, like every other game that I'm pretty much talking about today. It doesn't. It seems to be very, user specific. Some people have played through it and have not had any issues whatsoever. Other people have found it unplayable, where it's just crashed to the loading screen or just hard crashes your system. For me, I was okay with it. I had a few instances where it would stutter. I had one hard reset I had to do, but generally it was fine. And I think there's a lot going on in the game, so I can understand that there's a lot of physics going on, stuff like that. But it could have again been tested for a few more months, maybe delayed by 3 months or so, and just polished up a bit. But hopefully, if you're picking this up in your Christmas stocking or you're looking at getting it in the new year, there'll be a few patches to fix performances and all the rest of it. But it's a lot of fun, man. Like, who doesn't like wielding a lightsaber around or a double-edged lightsaber? The combat's fun, and if you drop it down to the right difficulty, if you hit that sweet spot, you get a lovely sensation of feeling powerful, but not too powerful. And it's a really fun game.
Yeah, Shane's walked away to get a beer, so I'm going to save my last-minute addition. Oh, he's back. Hey, there he is. Okay, so now I'm changing direction here. A game that a very last-minute addition to my list. It's not even in our flow, in our agenda, but it's one I have texted Shane and Carl to buy because I think it's really good, and that is Lonely Mountains Downhill, which is on the Xbox Game Pass, also available on the other systems for purchase. Great game. Goal of this game, you start at the top of a trail, a mountain bike trail. You're on a mountain bike. All you got to do is get to the bottom. That's the bare essence of the game. There's some additional challenges in there, like the time it takes you to get to the bottom. And there's also, and the time it takes actually creates a lot of additional gameplay because they make some really tight times to get down. There's a million shortcuts in this game, including like scaling rock surfaces, cutting behind trees, a lot of discovery. Very fun as far as the discovery element, just getting down the hill. And then there's additional challenges within that as well. It's just a really fun game. It's kind of rudimentary with the graphics, but it's got some good sound effects when you're up, usually at the top of a mountain. You've got like the wind blowing up there. You kind of hear what it would sound like when you're up at the top. And then you just make your way down. It's a fairly easy game, but as you try and get those additional challenges and trophies, the carrots at the end, it becomes a lot more challenging. And it's just a lot of fun. It's a very chill experience that has a built-in, like, extremely difficult hit reset a million times aspect to it. So it kind of reminds me of Joe Danger. Shane mentioned Hello Games earlier, where it is one of those games where you are just reset, 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 reset. But it's got this just amazing physics. I mean, they're not perfect, but they're really good, where it just makes the game feel wonderful to play. And a lot of blood, like trials, sort of, with the way
Yes.
your body's flipping around, and you get a little bit of blood at the end. And another game to play with the spouse, because my wife's constantly laughing as my corpse is flying off sides of things. And I mean, but you know what I really like about it too is when you hit reset, you can actually just reset from the last checkpoint. So as you're going down the mountain or down the trail, there are 5 or 6 or 7 checkpoints. And when you die, it just sets you back to the last checkpoint and also puts your time as to when you were at that checkpoint. So you can kind of really trial and error your way through all sorts of crap
Interesting.
without having to reset all the way up to the top. And it's difficult as far as like some of the traversal things you have to do. There's some really great shortcuts where you're just like climbing some rocks and making some gaps, some jumps. But last minute edition, very cool game. Lonely Mountains Downhill, available everywhere. Shane and Carl, you guys got to buy this. I swear.
It seems like you kind of nailed it there. It seems like a cross between Joe Danger, Trials, but with a visual art of Horizon Chase Turbo. And I think that's a fantastic little mix. And I am going to pick this one up because I break rules and that's what I do. But I am waiting for it to get a little bit cheaper because it's like $30 up here. So I'm going to wait. And if I can catch that under $20, I'll definitely grab that because that kind of stuff's cool. And you speak highly of it. So, it's going to be, a damn good game.
Oh yeah, I jumped on this when Joel sent the message the other night, and I thought, oh, I'll have a look and see if it's on the PC Game Pass, and it was. So I jumped in. I played probably an hour or so, and yeah, it's fun, man. It's a very addictive little game. It's definitely got that one more go kind of pull to keep you trying to increase your time or try and achieve those little targets that you can do to unlock different stuff, bike cosmetics and things. But I must admit, I loaded it up and I played once down the mountain, and it was relaxing and fun, and I was like, oh yeah, this is really cool. And then, like Joel's just said there, the minute you put a target on, you can get down the mountain once. The next time you can play, like, you can do it without so under 3 minutes, or perhaps you could do it without only dying a certain amount of times, like only having 13, 14 crashes or whatever. That's when it starts to get hectic a little bit, and but balanced as well. Like it's a good show, mate. I really enjoyed what I've played of that so far. It shall remain installed on the PC for sure.
I love it. And I might want to double dip once Shane gets in there, because it got you got your friend's leaderboard in there as well.
Yeah, Carl. Nana boo boo to you.
Well, maybe I'll pick it up as well.
There you go. We should all play this on the same system so we can check each other's scores
and all that. Speaking of playing games on the same system, or should we save it for last? No, we'll save that for last. I've gone for New Star Manager as another one of my games. This is a little football manager, soccer management sim, which I've thoroughly enjoyed. I've enjoyed jumping in and out of this year. It's super easy to pick up. You can play for like 10 minutes at a pop, play a couple of games. It's really cool because it gives you this it's a mobile game, and they put it onto console and got rid of all the crud that goes along with it, in terms of, a store and timed unlockables and things. Just get rid of all that and just make it a fun little game. And the thing that I really like about this is you set your team up, your formations and all the rest of it. You sign your players like you would in any sports sim. But then you actually get a chance to play out key moments from the matches as well. It'll put you in the position that, you can control the players, you can put runs through, cross the ball in, pick up and shoot, do whatever you want to do, and you play through those moments yourself when you're attacking with the ball. It adds a nice little air of interest to it. Keeps it feeling fresh. Played through a couple of seasons of it, thoroughly enjoying it. It's a really fun, surprising little game.
I've got two more, and then you've each got one. You share one. The only ABOG game to make two lists we'll save for last. So here's my next two, including my game of the year. Favorite game of the year. First up, we've got Devil May Cry 5. Played it on the PS4. It's also available now on Xbox Game Pass. If you got Game Pass, you can try it. A game that makes fun of itself rather well. Got a goofy story. Great action. Lots of awesome bosses. Good graphics. Got a good look to it. One of the better Devil May Cry games in quite a few years, in my opinion. And I think I chose the last Devil May Cry as my game of the year a couple of years ago. But it's good. I played it on Puss, as I mentioned previously. It was a little easy on Puss, I have to admit. But when I busted up the gameplay or the difficulty, it becomes a little bit more like Ninja Gaiden or something, where you really got to pay attention to your dodging and what you're doing. One that I probably will never play again, but I would love to try and go back and play on the next peg up, because I think there's a lot more playability to it when you play it outside of Puss. But Devil May Cry 5, great game. And then last but not least, my favorite game of the year, Gears 5. On the Xbox One, I got it free for Game Pass. It's been on sale here. I've almost wanted to buy it just to make sure I keep a spot for it on the shelf, because you never know about these digital games and when they disappear. And if they disappear, it's like, I'll never play it. You lose sight of it. It'll go away. And I enjoyed it so much, it might need a permanent spot on my shelf. But Gears 5, great game. Good third-person shooter. Good story. Got it very attached to the main character, Kate. Has all the old characters in the game. If you're a fan of Gears, makes all those callbacks. Decent story. Awesome shooting. Some nice boss fights in there. I would love to, and I've had a couple messages. We should probably get some horde mode going with the guys, maybe some community nights. But Gears 5, that's my favorite game of the year. Excellent game. Got a good 20, 30 hours out of that.
Nice.
Man, nicely done, bud.
Thanks, guys.
Well, I guess we come on to the last game for me and Shane to discuss, which we've already done so on multiple episodes. It probably is my game of the year if I had to pick one. I think it's been a bit of a difficult one. Again, it's got its performance issues, most notably when you're playing co-op. But Borderlands 3, more Borderlands, and again, far from perfect, but I've had a ton of fun with it. I'm still having a ton of fun with it. I haven't platinumed it yet. I think this one will be one that I'll look to platinum next year. Just chip away at it little by little. But I've had an awful lot of fun in this game. I love the story. I think it's got its little moments. It's not particularly clever. It's not. It's Borderlands. But if you like the story in 2, I think you'll like the story in 3. Where it goes. So yeah, Borderlands 3 for me. I don't know. We've talked about it a lot, so we probably don't want to go wax lyrical for too long. But Shane, anything you want to just mention on it?
Actually, yeah. There are some things I'd like to mention.
Do so.
Thank you. It is also my favorite game of the year. And I'm about to tell you why. Not only because it's Borderlands, but I've more so enjoyed it playing through with my good mate, Brian, Massive Attack. From the day it came out, we made a pact to play through this game in co-op together, start to finish. And after a couple months, as us folks, older folks, you don't have every night free and whatnot. So picking up every few nights and a couple times a week and hammering through the story and playing through it, and just an absolute joy. And I've played a lot of co-op games, online games that have been favorites of the year because of, the community, with, like Killzone 3 and Borderlands 2 and whatnot. This one was a little extra special. It was It was really, really fun to play through and to do it start to finish, and to even get to the platinum. After we finished the story, we only had a handful of trophies left. We started doing cleanup, and then there's 3 circle slaughters at the very end that you need to complete in order to get the platinum. They were the biggest challenge, and we tried doing them and failed numerous times. Redid our gear and whatnot for, just everything, our own gear, our ultimates gear or whatnot, and slowly started took one down, and then the next night, all right, let's do it again, let's try the next one the next night, and it was just a great when you have friends, when you're a kid and whatnot, and it's like all for one for all, and it's just that mentality of we can do this, with your best mate and whatnot, and that's what it felt like playing these last 3 Circle of Slaughters, even to the very last one, which was by far the hardest. Both of us would die, and it was the Slaughter 3000, I think it's called. And when you die, it kind of put you up into like this tube that kind of overlooks, the kind of battle area and whatnot. And there's not quite a force field, but there's something there, and you can shoot through, and guys can shoot through it back at you. And doing the last one, I should say the Circle Slaughters are, like 5 rounds of multiple waves of enemies, and it gets harder and harder as you go. We get to the 5th round, and if both players die, you got to start the round over. That happened on the last night we did it, but we kept going. We gave it another go, and it got to the point. Brian died, and he's up at the top, and I'm trying to keep the enemies in the circle area. So he can pop shot him, and he's shooting down, raining hell down from above, which is brilliant and whatnot. And it came to a point, and I ended up dying. And in Borderlands, when you're dying, if you kill an enemy, you get a second wind. You're back up, and you're back continuing the fight. And there's a moment I'll never forget. And I went down, and he used like this special move that he has where he holds an enemy up in the air. And when he did that, I'm down, and I just started blasting, we'll say, and I just gave everything into it, and I ended up getting that second win, continued on, and we were like, it's like 9:00 at night, and I'm cheering, and he's cheering like, yeah, we got this, it's like the last round, the final moments of this, and it was just like all this work that we'd been leading up to for the past week and whatnot, going through these, and then something kind of glitched out, which I've seen happen on this round, where it'll say it's completed and whatnot, but there's still enemies around. Like you haven't actually killed all the enemies, but it comes up as being completed. That did happen. So you can put an asterisk next to my platinum trophy. I don't care. I don't give a shit, because this was incredible. And when it came up as being completed and whatnot, where you have to turn in, I mean, I'm getting blasted at from all angles, and I just start yelling at Brian, because the thing opened up, and I'm just like, turn in, move, go, and he just books it over, turns in, the mission comes up as being completed. All of a sudden the trophies start plinging, the platinum comes up, and we're like cheering, let's get out of here, let's move, because enemies are just like everywhere, it's nuts, and just booked it out of there, got back to Sanctuary, and it was an incredible end to a fantastic game that is not perfect at all. But when you have, your buddy with you next to you playing through and co-op and whatnot, and then you have moments like that, this is why I play video games, is moments like this. And Borderlands 3 is so important because of that moment and going through, and easily my favorite game of the year because of that.
Oh, well said, buddy. Man, I'm like I'm all charged up over here. There's no asterisk by a platinum. There's no such thing.
Right?
So even if
there isn't.
No.
People do. People like to hate on My Name is Mail. It's a fantastic platinum.
Well, okay, you took it a little far, maybe. I just Borderlands, man. You got a platinum in that? You can't put an asterisk by that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic, man. There was a lot of great games this year that came out, and the three of us, we didn't get to play all of them. Some of them will be left for 2020's backlog challenge. But the games we did play, they are true favorites, and ones that, like many favorite of the year shows, we can always go back and say, our favorite game of the year, that's still a favorite. There's still favorites. There's definitely a connection that each of us have with all of our favorite games, and that is definitely prevalent in 2019.
Well said. Way to end it, man. Kind of went out on top right there. That was awesome. Seriously.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to share that experience because it was crazy. Just so much fun, and yeah, good stuff. Borderlands.
Awesome.
I don't know what it is about the end of the year. And we've got one more show before the year is out. We've got our favorite albums, favorite records, our favorite music of 2019 on the next episode. Got quite a long list. We'll hopefully have Brad's list as well. I'm sure he'll send us an email. We'll get through that. But this time of year, it's a time to think of family and friends. It's a time to reminisce. It's a time to think about new beginnings, right? And New Year's. So always kind of think back and reflect on 2019. And I mentioned it earlier when we cheersed, but I'm so happy to be doing this with these two guys. And we don't have tens of thousands of listeners. We've got a very loyal few. And we would love to add you to that loyal few. Put some quarters in our arcade jukebox for 2020. Help give us some fuel for our gas tanks as we push through another year of ABOG. You can do that in a couple ways. Say hey on social media. Join our Discord server. Join our Facebook group. If you go to abandonedgamers.com, all that stuff is right there. Easy to find, hopefully. But thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you to Shane and Carl for another great year. One more episode. The music footies. But seriously, we do this because of the friendship, right? We're not making any money. We don't have 1 million listeners. And I get a lot of conversation lately because I work at a radio station now. I get a lot of, why do you do what you do? And it's like, because of my friends. It's
right there, buddy. You're right there.
No bullshitting. I mean, it sounds really sappy, but it's the truth. So if you're out there, if you're listening, if you appreciate us, it would mean the world to us if you would take a minute just to come say hey. Because if it's every one of you out there that are listening to this right now is why we do this, besides my two great friends I've made here doing this, Shane and Carl. So take a moment. It only takes a second. Go to abandonedgamers.com. Pick your poison. Instagram, Twitter, Discord, Facebook group. Just send us an email even. Just say hey and help push us along for another year. Our 8th year of Abandoned Gamers going into 2020. So as long as you're there and you're pushing us along, I promise we'll keep going. Because Shane, Carl, and I can just go play games. We can just go online and play games. We don't have to keep doing a podcast. Probably cheaper if we just played some games. So if you appreciate it, we would appreciate you just taking a moment to join us, become part of our community, become part of our friend group. Made some great friends doing this, right? I mean, people we run into all over the place. It's just amazing.
Oh yeah.
Anything else to add, guys? Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. One more show before the new year.
Just Merry Christmas to everybody, and thank you for listening. And yeah, it would be great to hear from. It's lovely to hear from people who listen to the show, and like you said, Joel, you do become friends, and it's lovely to be surrounded by. We have a very positive, very strong community, and I love that. I wouldn't swap that for anything. And it's lovely, just to travel, to come to the States. Like I've been fortunate this year. I've been able to see Shane, and to see Joel twice. To be fair, so it's been a fun year. I've enjoyed it, and listen to the show, recommend us, and just keep sticking with us.
Best community in the world. Always welcoming. Anybody that's new is welcomed as an old friend. So don't be shy. Come say hey.
Well put again. Got a roll, Shane. You're setting the bar high for the favorite albums of the year.
Just getting ready to break it all down.
Yeah. Colin, make sure you listen. There's a lot of metal in there.
Ooh,
Yes.
No names.
nice. We'll go through that next time, and I'm sure we'll get some game in there at the front, right? Well, maybe an update on our backlog, or
Yeah.
maybe PlayStation will reveal something or something. Who knows? To give a little peer pressure there, maybe. No, I doubt it. They're kicking so much ass. They're all
something.
They're all complacent at the moment.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. AbandonedGamers.com for all that stuff. See you soon. Happy holidays. The music footies next episode. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.